Hi, it's Matt from Go Green Autos. So what we have here is another Renault Kangoo long wheelbase van. It's a Maxi van, 2013, in this really nice metallic silver. It's a bit difficult to see because the sun is so low today, but Renault call this cosmic grey. It's a sort of grey metallic silver, a bit darker than your light silver you'd get in the cars. Maybe a slight tinge of green to it, but really nice colour and really nice condition for a van. This one is a beauty. So I'll just show you around. Being a long wheelbase van, it has got sliding doors on both sides and twin doors on the back, and at the business end here it is really nice condition. It's hardly had any use. As you can see, this timber is in cracking condition still. Solid bulkhead there, twin doors as I said. Over on the floor there is the jack and a spanner for the wheels, the spare wheels underneath as well. This is because the boxing here has actually covered the void where the jack is meant to mount, so it's over there on the floor. Twin doors, as you probably know, handle here, and the doors on these open to 180 degrees, so you can load pallets in with a forklift. And as I said, underneath there is the full-size spare wheel. So just going around to the side here, this is your charging cable, type 1 for the front to type 2 for your home charger or work charger or public charging post. And then while we're talking about charging, around the front here is your charging flap, type 1 connector, 16 amp charging only on these, no DC rapid charging, so sort of overnight charging only. So quickly we'll go round and look at the condition. There's nothing really much to say. This is a cracking looking van, really great condition. I'm going to have to be very picky here to point anything out, to be honest. Front bumper scuff free, really nice. Slight dent there on the bonnet and a couple of bits of slight grazing in the top coat, but I've polished and waxed this, so it's in very nice condition and all good. The wheel trims are all pretty good as they protrude on these. They tend to be quite scratched, but there's one which is scratched more than the others. It's actually that one there looking at it, so that's the one that's scratched, but very minor. A couple little scratches there on the mirrors, you'd expect that, they'll protrude. Little dent there, but very small. There's a couple of dents on the back doors, one there and one there, but again very minor for these. You really wouldn't worry about it. Going round to the side, good wheel trims, good tyres as well. They're all above 5mm, so that will all be on the website. Looking down this side, I don't think there's anything to note. Again, another good wheel trim, and the mirror, not a scratch on. It is all in really nice condition. Oh, there's one other thing I should point out, is the sill on this side has been hit at some point down there, but again, you wouldn't worry about it. This is, as I've probably repeated many times, in fantastic condition for the age and the mileage. So looking inside, seats are all great, no wear, new carpet mats there on the floor, solid bulkhead. There's actually a coat hook there as well. Let's go round and get out of the wind. It's sunny today, but it's a winter's morning and God, it is cold. A lot colder than it looks. So just remove that plastic. So new carpet mat, and seat is in really nice condition. So it is starting to show a bit of wear there. It's worse now since I've shampooed these seats. But you know, there's no wear on the bolsters. which is where they would normally go. So inside here, not much to point out, all in nice condition. I suppose, you know, if I really be picky, there's a little bit of scratching there on the silver plastic, but that's about it. This one doesn't have a stereo. Most of these electrics don't have a stereo. They weren't standard fit back then. However, the wiring is all in here. They put all the wiring looms in the factory, so it's got the antenna on the roof, all the power, all the wiring to the doors. So you can just whip this out, plug in a stereo in here, and it will work. You will need a couple of speakers for the doors. They're dirt cheap speakers, but you know, it's easy to fit a stereo if you wanted to do that. Down here, handbrake, lots of little storage cubbies, 2 cup holders. You got electric windows, electric mirrors, they all work. They are folding electric mirrors, however the driver's side doesn't fold, only the passenger side folds, but that's a feature most of them don't have, so I wouldn't worry about that. Normal key, there is only one key with this, which is quite common with leased vehicles. The spare key is often missing. So remote central locking as well, so to start it, you turn it round to the starter motor position, foot on the brake, and then one move, like it's a move across like you're starting a normal car. And then you get a beep, as you heard, and a green go light, which means the engine is now running. And the mileage is there, 31,938 miles. And I'll just take the handbrake off, and you can see there no warning lights, and I'm not sure whether that's picking it up there. So there it is. Over here is your gear selector display, so I'll move it down to drive, and it now says D. It also says E, which is the eco switch, which is down here, a bit hidden. Having the eco mode on, that reduces the power of the motor, so your top speed is reduced to about 65 miles an hour. Top speed on these normally I think is about 86. They're great on the motorway, but obviously the faster you go, the more range you lose. But for normal town driving, having it on eco mode, you won't notice any difference. It actually helps a bit because it reduces the power, and it's very easy to spin the front wheels on these. Obviously with electrics you've got instant torque, and particularly the roads are wet, you can wheel spin these so easily. So having eco mode, it helps that, and you get a nice smooth pull away. So let's just move forward a little bit, and you can see that there is no warning lights. I'm not going to do a proper drive because it won't really show you anything, and I don't have a phone mounting kit to film while I'm driving, but it all drives perfectly as you'd expect. Nothing wrong with this one. So handbrake on. The other quick thing I'll show you is the service thing. Range is showing 60 miles there because we're in winter. Typically these do 75-80 miles in the summer, and in the winter I proved that this, in reality these do I was driving at about -3 the other day, and it did 66 miles range by the looks of it on a full tank. So that's very worst case scenario. So, you know, in reality 80 miles in the summer, 70 miles in the winter, something like that. But again, it depends how you drive. If you're going to drive in the town where you're doing stop-start driving, you're going to maximise it. See, around here most of it's dual carriageway driving. This is the key thing here, service intervals. It doesn't need a service for another 22,000 miles. Service intervals on these is every 25,000 miles. The other thing to note is this is a handy function. These have a preheating function, or maybe pre-cooling as well. So you leave the heater around here to the little clock symbol. On the dash here you can set a time that you want it to come on. So like if you're leaving for 8 o'clock in the morning, you set this, and then it will preheat the cabin while it's plugged into your wall charger at the time you set on the dash. and then it will make the cabin nice and toasty, melt all the ice off the windows, and you still retain 100% battery charge, so when you leave you haven't lost any range, and maybe even you don't need the heating on then as well, because the cabin is up to temperature. And then in the summer when you use this, it puts the fans on. It's not going to cool so well because it doesn't have air conditioning, but at least it puts the fans on and tries to move the air and makes an attempt to cool the cabin down. So we'll just have a quick look at the paperwork. It's got all the books. Here's the book with a sticker in the back with the ignition key code and all that sort of stuff, and the service sheets are in the back of the handbook on the Renaults, and there's one service February 2017 at 30,000 miles. So as I said, service intervals every 25, so it's only had the one service so far. And this one was straight from the lease company, so I've got the lease company's service sheet. Nothing's been done with this one. It had a recall on the brakes. It's had the one service. No, actually, there we've had another service. I've just noticed this. No, that's the first service. It had a service at 18,582, and then that other one, and tyres and an MOT. So it's had two services. The MOT, it does have an MOT. This one runs out at the end of this month, 27th of January. It was only done at 29,678 miles, so it was only done 2,000 miles ago. These electric vans are actually exempt from MOT, so there's no requirement to MOT them. As this one has only done 2,000 miles since the last, I'm not going to renew it. It's a bit pointless. It's done no miles since, and the new MOT is not going to find anything. So it's obviously up to you whether you want to MOT these. An MOT is a very cheap way of getting your suspension and shocks and tyres checked, but obviously this one's done no miles since, so it's not going to find anything. So that's up to you whether you keep up with the MOTs. I got this straight from the lease company, so no previous owners. It did have a private plate on, which I've then have since removed, hence why I've now had to register it in my name, so it's now showing as one previous keeper, but I've only done that to get the plate off, and it's now returned back to its original plate. So registration date is there, 17th of the 1st 2013, electric. So yeah, it's got all of that. It's also got the original warranty documents there from when it was new. And obviously with these, the battery is leased. The warranty is finished now, has expired now on the van. I'll warranty it for 3 months, so it covers everything. The battery is leased on these, on the Renaults, so you don't have to worry about the condition of the battery pack. Obviously when it degrades to a certain point at a long way in the future, Renault will change the battery. The monthly payments for the leasing the battery starts at £25 plus VAT a month. It goes out depending on your mileage. It's all on the website. If you go to Buyer's Guide and then Battery Lease Explained, and also for that monthly payment, you've obviously got your battery pack is guaranteed. You don't have to worry about that. But you also get breakdown cover, and that includes tyres, punctures, whether you run out of battery. They will recover you to your home, workplace, or to a Renault dealer. You'll also get car hire as well, replacement car hire. So a very good package all in all, particularly as electric vans or electric vehicles get older, and maybe there's a worry about the state of how long the battery pack is going to last. Obviously with the battery leased vehicles, that's of no concern. You buy the vehicle but you rent the batteries, so it takes away that worry, particularly as vehicles get older. So there we go, one very nice condition electric van, 100% electric, no road tax, no MOTs if indeed you want to do that, and no London congestion zone charges. So very cheap motoring, cost about £2 to charge one of these. Obviously depends how much you pay for electricity. And available now for delivery anywhere in the country.